Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this episode, we continue our TFcon Toronto adventure with an interview with veteran Transformers comics writer Simon Furman. And we moderate a panel with our favorite Transformers comics artists, Alex Milne, Livio Ramondelli, and Andrew Griffith. Today is Friday, July 19th, 2024, and this is episode 399 of Transmissions Alt Mode. Okay, we're live at TFcon Toronto 2024, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Simon Furman.
Hi, great to be here.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to meet you in person. We did an interview with you online a little while ago, but getting to actually be in the room with you is a real treat for me. And you know, we're big fans of everything you've done with Transformers, and happy to get to talk to you again.
Fantastic.
So I wanted to just, reflecting back on 40 years of Transformers and how things started back in the 80s. I guess we're in the U.S., so we only got the comics monthly, but in the U.K., things got, you were able to put the comic out weekly. How was the popularity so much higher for the comics in the U.K.?
I think it was more that UK comics are generally weekly. We didn't really do monthlies.
Okay.
So when they launched Transformers UK, it was as a fortnightly, which is almost their testing mode for something to see whether it's popular enough to go weekly. But it was never, I don't think it was ever going to be a monthly, just because that's the way certainly the newsagents trade was then. Weeklies were the norm. Okay. So it started fortnightly, and once clearly it was selling well enough, it went weekly.
Oh yeah, awesome. Okay. And so you've created a lot of ideals and concepts within Transformers. I don't know recently if you they started putting out comic edition toys from Hasbro, and the last one that they announced was a Emerate Zeron and Flame toys. So
yeah, I mean that's great, and I mean I love this sort of comic edition thing they're doing. And it was great to see they did a Jaxus toy, and I like these comic, sort of ones they're taking directly from the comic. Yeah. But I guess this was a left field one even for me. Emerate Zaran, okay, yeah, reasonably well used character. Flame, a character, in one story really. So yeah, but is it great? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I hope they do more of these.
Yeah, awesome. And since you've worked on so many different iterations of Transformers, I mean, you've worked from comics to TV to video games, and the live action movies, of course, have been a big kind of explosion within the Transformers fandom, and they took a lot of your ideas for those movies. I wonder, did they ever give you any consultant or talk or bring you into the writers' room or anything?
I did have chats with them right at the start, long before the first movie actually made it to the screen. I was contacted by Lorenzo di Bonaventura's office and spoke to him at length about some kind of consultancy role on it. In the end that didn't materialize. I can only guess that once Michael Bay was involved, it went in a sort of very different direction. But yeah, originally that was the plan. I was going to be some kind of general consultant in terms of the lore and the kind of role I have now on a lot of the computer games.
Yeah. Is Transformers Earth Wars, that's still going, and they're still putting things out?
Yeah, Transformers Earth Wars must be now in its 7th or 8th year.
Yeah.
Amazingly, and I still every other month do the saga for the new releases, for the characters for that, and the unlocks and any other special event storylines. So it's great. Not everybody who plays the game reads the storylines, but we have built up our own little continuity there, and it has this nice balance of a story and in-joke references and sort of self-deprecating digs at myself and Furmanisms. So it's great. It's a lovely little slightly breaking the fourth wall bit of Transformers that I enjoy doing once every other month.
Yeah, awesome. And in the panel this weekend that you did with Bob Budiansky, you mentioned how in that issue where Ratchet and Megatron were fused together, you lifted something from The Fly, David Cronenberg's The Fly.
Yeah. The end scene where the conjoined mega Ratchet creature pulls Optimus Prime's blaster barrel back to its forehead, almost urging it to shoot, is really a direct, I'd like to say, homage to Cronenberg's The Fly.
Yeah.
So but my stuff is littered. I'm the sum of my influences: movie, novel, you look at Matrix Quest, and I was just exploring all the things that had a resonance with me: private eye fiction, westerns, Moby Dick, so the aliens aliens in the sort of the fourth part of that.
Yeah.
So it's not new for me to sort of borrow from things I love in other media.
Yeah. It was funny because when you said that in the panel, a light bulb hit me, because that iconic cover that Andrew Wildman did, where they're holding up the little note that says "Help us," and I remember from the original Fly, the little fly going, "Help me, help me."
Yeah. It was definitely that vibe of The Fly, in that sort of, because I was a big fan of the Cronenberg body horror movies, and that was definitely, the whole storyline was a sort of a riff on that.
Yeah, awesome. So Skybound, of course, has gotten the Transformers license just recently, and you've contributed in every iteration of Transformers comics, basically. So I'm hoping that they're getting in touch with you, or someone's contacted you from Skybound.
Yeah, we have. I've chatted to Skybound, and their plans are still sort of in a formative stage. But the door is open, and I really hope at some point we get a chance, in both their schedule and my schedule at the moment, to do something together. But they're going to have it, I'm sure, for years. So I don't feel under any sort of urgent rush here. I'm busy, very busy on Astrobots. I've got another comic series starting soon, and my own work. I've published a little graphic novel called 5 Points, which is a crime noir, very close to my heart, and I've been doing To the Death with Jeff Senior. So there's a lot going on. I'm doing a lot of my own, much more of my own projects, and balancing that with work for hire or whatever. So at the moment it suits me and it suits them. That the channels are open.
Great.
But there's nothing set in any kind of stone yet.
Right. So with Astrobots, are we getting another series of that? I got the first 5 issues. Is there another series coming out?
There is. In fact, I would say there's probably 3 or 4 series in the works at some stage. So the trade of series 1 comes in October, I think. I think it's been solicited, and then once that's out, they'll start releasing Arc 2 of the storyline, which is going to be another 5-issue series. And then, as I say, we've got 2 more 5-issue series in the works. And, the first one was drawn by Hector Trunick, but we've got some new artists coming in on that. Guido Guidi from Transformers is doing some work for us on the 3rd arc. And we're just, I'm working with Aaron Thomas, who created Astrobots, on the 4th arc as we speak. So, big plans for the years ahead.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, of course, the big news with Transformers this year is the new movie coming out, a new animated movie, first one in 38 years. So, and already with some of the trailer, it looks like there's a character that looks a lot like someone named Sentinel Prime. And, of course, you're familiar with one like that.
Absolutely. I mean, I love that things that I've slightly added in are sort of now part and parcel of every other different iteration. Things like the Fallen and the 13 and Primus. It's always very flattering when they just keep cropping up in things. So, great. I'm very happy that, Transformers is something I feel I've added to, and that's great. And so whenever I see something like that, and I've really enjoyed the trailers for the one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Awesome, yeah. I guess maybe one final question, and maybe I'd like to get your perspective on how you see. I mean, of course, Transformers started off as kind of all the lore and everything was created to sell the toys, and of course Hasbro wants to sell their toys, but both you and Bob Budiansky put a lot of creativity into it, and I think that's why the franchise has stuck around for 40 years, and why we've always been so excited and invested in it. So how do you see the balance between kind of the commercial aspect of selling toys, and then the creative aspect of trying to build something that really touches people?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're sort of separate entities, really. The fact that Transformers was a toy line affected my writing not at all. I just wrote as I would have written for anything. They didn't, whether they were robots, human characters. I found in Bob's character profiles such a wealth of story opportunity and character development to be had that very quickly I stopped thinking of them as toys or robots, or they were just characters, and I was telling kind of what I hoped were interesting, engaging stories. So they will always be toys. Without the toys there probably is no comic and animated series, and
Right.
so they go hand in hand, these things. And I like getting back to what we started with, that Hasbro are starting to acknowledge the comics more as a thing they can create toys from. So it feels like we've kind of come full circle on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us some of your time this weekend. It's great to meet you in person, and thank you for everything you've done with Transformers and everything you've contributed over the years. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's been great.
All right, thank you. And this is Transmissions Podcast and Simon Furman, live at TFcon Toronto 2024.
Our panel, brought to you by the Transmissions Podcast, of Alex Milne, Livio Ramondelli, and Andrew Griffith. Round of applause, everybody.
Hey, everybody, thanks. Thank you. That was for me, right? It's not for me? No? Okay. How's everyone? Good. Oh, this is awesome to be back in Toronto at TFcon. Right on. So I'm Darryl, Cybertronian Beast from Transmissions. I got Charles.
Hello. Charles, a.k.a. Beast from Transmissions.
And we're going to just kind of moderate this panel for you with the great artists you see in front of you here. So let's kind of get started here. We got it here. We got all three. We've got. We're just trying to start with some Transformers-y stuff because that's kind of why we're all here. And then we've got a couple other interesting projects that are going on. So really, why? Let's go with what got you guys into Transformers. I mean, let's start right back at the basics. Got you into Transformers and into art, drawing Transformers. Let's go with Andrew.
Okay. Wow, it goes way back. I remember when the toys and the cartoon and the comics all first came out. Like my older brother was coming home from school. Like all these kids were talking about this new thing called Transformers. So. We forced our parents to rush us out to the mall and go to pick up the comics and the toys and stuff. And then I remember the day the cartoon premiered, coming home from school to see that. So I was a fan right from the start. It was perfect for me at my age, to get into that. And then I always wanted to draw as a kid, but I could never draw Transformers. And some might say I still can't, but I couldn't. And then at some point when I got older, I just sat down and started drawing again. And for some reason, it started clicking, and I started figuring it out. And I was looking at everything that Alex and all them were doing Dreamwave and early IDW stuff and EJ Sue and Don Figueroa, of course, and it's wow, okay, this is very inspiring, So that's kind of how I got into it. I started posting stuff online. I took part in some contests, and IDW reached out to me and said, hey, have you ever drawn movie comics? And I was like, not really, but I did some quick sketches and sent them off, and a few weeks later I helped ink something, and that led to some fill-in pages, and that led to the next thing, and that's kind of my little story in a nutshell.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, it's fun to no matter what you're working on, when that thing you've been struggling with just clicks and you get it, right? And it doesn't matter whatever you're working on, whether it's art or you're tearing engines apart. You get it, and you click it, and
it works.
You know it, and now it's stuck. right?
Yep, totally.
Livio.
Yeah, kind of similar. Like I was a G1 kid from the 80s, so like the cartoon, the original toys, same with Andrew, and like I was drawing all the time. I was really into X-Men and Spider-Man and stuff, and then with IDW, like how I got involved was I just randomly had Transformers prints at a table, like an artist alley at a Comic-Con, and Chris Ryle, who was one of the editors at IDW, walked by and was like, "Oh, you should submit to us." And then the next week, I did like the Best of Optimus Prime cover for the trade paperback, which was like a dream come true because I love those characters so much. So yeah,
right on
from the 80s.
All right, Alex.
First, like when you want, like how we got into art, do you want like all the way back to like the beginning?
Yeah, man, right from like grade 1.
Okay.
Day one of art school, what happened?
I flunked. So I grew up with the toys and everything. I had an older brother. He got the Decepticon ones. I got the Autobot ones. My first toy was Optimus Prime. I would always play with him. The way my mother tells it is she got frustrated with me scribbling crayon on the walls. So she put me in front of some coloring books. And I started to like color and do all that stuff in there. And I started to really like it. Then I won a coloring contest for a Towers Transformers thing where I won a 6-shot.
Oh, it's a good
And I was
ticket to
always
win.
like coloring and doodling in my like notebooks at school, and that just continued on until I got into high school and developed more in the art classes there. I took them, and then when I went to college, I went into illustration, but I went into technical and scientific. I was originally going into interpretive illustration because that was book illustration, but I found that the technical side appealed to me more, doing scientific renderings, buildings, architectural drawings, car motors, all that stuff, which kind of leads into Transformers.
I can see how that would be transferable.
And
sure.
I actually got an internship at Dreamwave, and they had me doing alt mode designs for their More Than Meets the Eye Armada preview books, or profile books. And then when my internship was up, I was like, "Oh, thanks for having me," and all this stuff. And they're like, "You're leaving?" And they're like, "We have more work for you." And they just kept feeding it to me. I'm like, "I'm still in school, guys. Like when you're done school, we have more for you to work on." When I was done school, they basically threw me Transformers Energy on. They're like, "You're going to be doing this book."
Right on.
And then I went bankrupt. And I was depressed. And then Udon got the Reader's Digest license to do movie, like the live action movie mix and match books where you would draw a page and it's divided up into 3 different sections, and you could flip the top section. So every character, the head had to line up in the exact same spot because you would flip it, and like you'd have like Optimus Prime's head, Bumblebee's like
Oh
main part of the chest.
right,
And
like a Mad Libs for Transformers,
So I got to do that, and I brought those samples to BotCon in 2006. And I was showing them to Don Figueroa, and he's like, "You should meet Chris Ryle." And I went in, and he's like, "Oh, you like drawing movie stuff?" And he's like, "You can draw the movie adaptation if you want." And I was like, "Yes, please." And then I was with IDW until the end.
Wow, a lot of you guys have Chris Ryle beginnings.
He was the one that emailed me too.
Yeah.
Very
good.
A lot,
Yeah, right on. I mean, you didn't mention it, but I know it because I know you. You won a Wizards contest, Wizards Magazine. Everyone remember Wizards Magazine, right? Yeah. Alex won a contest at Wizards. He's got his high school picture in there.
Well, the weird thing is that they ask for a photograph to go with the artwork, and I'm like, I don't like having pictures of myself taken. So the only thing I had was like my grad photo. So I'm like, fine, there, done. I failed English for that because I never bothered going to the class, but I did the artwork and I won the grand prize. So I was
there
like,
you go. Yeah. No, it's very cool. So yeah, you can find pictures of Alex in high school. Charles, you got a question?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all your artwork. So I guess I wonder if you guys are fans of each other's artwork. So maybe if each of you could say what you like most about the artist who you're writing. So maybe Andrew, you can start.
Yeah. So like, it's hard to know where to start. Like with Alex's, you know, it's like, especially with the pressure of him breathing down my neck. But I mean, I think, of course, anybody would agree. You probably reach your peak with More Than Meets the Eye. I mean, it's just, you look at any like fan art out there, anybody who was influenced since then, and you can see the influence that he put on the fandom and the franchise. You know, it's like it's just unavoidable. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the thing that really clicked the best with your style, like the emotion, the characters. I mean, there's tons of character in it, which is maybe the most challenging thing to do. And you can draw Transformers like nobody else can with the detail, and you can't deny the detail and the speed. Like, I sit next to him watching him draw commissions, and it just comes out so fast, I just can't believe it. But yeah, it's like, it's hard to know where to start, what not to like. That's a harder question, yes?
Also, I should ask if you don't like it.
No. Oh, man. That's
Everything.
That's an even longer list.
No.
Not enough time.
He hates the character designs.
Oh, no, that's true. That's true. When I've tried to draw some of the characters he designed, and the ships too, like, does it need to be this complicated?
Yes.
So, Alex, what do you say about Livio?
Who? Well, with Livio's stuff, I always find it so atmospheric. It's got a lot of mood to it. So I love that. I love his ability to render an image. Because I see his pencils, and I'm like, wow, that's like a nice movie piece. But then when he adds the color to it, I'm like, how did he do that? It looks like I'm looking at something from a movie, like movie concept art. But then I remember that you worked for Wildstorm. So I'm like, bastard. Because he got to work at a studio that Jim Lee founded. Yeah. And I'm just like, jealous. So I'm like, no wonder he's so good.
Awesome. All right, Livio, we're going to wrap around, so you can say something about Andrew.
Okay, well, I can say for both these guys, like, they're both like master illustrators, you know, and one really cool thing is like knowing them personally, but also appreciating like their art. So I think a lot of us have to reference each other's work when we do commissions or when we were doing IDW together. So I would look at these guys' art all the time, and you know, they're both just amazing, like amazing illustrators. And I think also that it's kind of lost sometimes of how much work goes into actually drawing a Transformers comic, because it's not just the main big action shots. It's like characters walking down a hallway or something. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So the amount of like care these guys put into it is really amazing.
Awesome. All right.
Right on. So we will open the floor up to like questions from everybody. Yeah, well, we have some of that. We want to do that. But we do have, we can go to that now, I guess, sure. We do have like some stuff from each one of these guys. Well, Alex didn't provide anything, but that's okay. So Andrew, if you weren't aware, Andrew's been working on a creator-owned project with John Barber. You know that name, right? From Robots in Disguise. So they've been working on Cigna here. And well, Andrew, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Cigna? You were on our show a couple times talking about it. Mm-hmm. It went through the Kickstarter process. Yep. Very successful, right? Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It was really awesome. Yeah, give it up.
So this is something that John Barber and I have been working on for years. Like, even when we were working on Transformers, we always said we wanted to do a create-our-own thing. And we've had ideas of like this sci-fi kind of thing building over the years. And it's, at the most basic level, you might say it's kind of like Star Wars meets Transformers, because it's kind of got like a sci-fi kind of outlaw world, and it's set in like our future, sort of like a post-apocalyptic kind of a setting, with some unlikely heroes coming together to maybe be able to fix things. But it's got chunky big robot action, it's got sci-fi intrigue, it's got some kind of hard sci-fi concepts, some more softer adventure kind of stuff too. But yeah, that's kind of my big project right now. So John and I are focusing on that, and we thought might show it off because that's what I'm currently working on.
Yeah, no, we were lucky enough to get a chance to read the first issue, and it's really good.
Thank you.
So everyone, if you, I don't know, will it get? I don't know if we know everyone. The Kickstarter is over, but will will it come to the normal brick and mortar stores eventually?
That's the plan. Yeah, I think the plan is. I don't know if there's a date officially announced yet, but there's going to be a 6-issue run at least, and then if that does well, we have at least 2 other story arcs to tell.
Nice. Very good.
So.
All right, everyone look forward to Signa.
Nice variant cover there, homaging classic Transformers G1 cover there.
Is that an homage?
I think so.
And Livio, you've had something going on for a while now. You finished your second arc on Killlock, right?
Yep.
So that's been highly successful, right? So yeah, very, very awesome for that. You know, maybe give it up for Killlock. Is anyone right? Killlock's been great. So yeah, I mean, the question should be asked. We got a trilogy happening, maybe?
Yeah, there's currently a third one I'm working on. So,
right on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, but it's been a blast, and thanks for everyone who's read it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it's great. So yeah, Killlock, and that's been great. So I'm glad that you got a third one coming. So that'll make a nice trilogy. Is that what you're working on right now, or is there anything else going on?
I'm doing another creator-owned thing. It's like a sci-fi World War II thing. So it's kind of in the same vein of Killlock, like sense of humor and stuff. But it's a totally separate idea. But yeah, that's been fun. That's about halfway done now.
Cool. Yeah. Right on.
So yeah.
Alex, you didn't bring any slides. I'm sorry.
Well, he was on my slide.
He was on your slide. That's right. We did. We got a variant cover for Alex on Signa.
And Josh Perez colored it. Josh Perez, who some people may know. Yeah.
All right.
Alex has done some variant covers for the new Transformers series.
This is true, and they are here. So, is everyone reading the new Skybound series? All right, that's a lot of hands. All right, so Alex has done 2 variant covers for that. Livio's got one as well.
Yeah, there's like 5 coming, I think.
You got 5?
Yeah, there's more coming.
Hot damn. All right. Well done. All right, so do you have any here?
No.
Okay.
No, they just got turned in like yesterday.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Alex has 2 here for issues 7 and 8. I believe you said 8 is super limited?
Yeah, about 40 copies of that one I have.
All right, so if you want both of them, get to his table real quick. So hit up Alex if you want some variant covers of those, and they look fantastic. So you've had that. I know you've got some other stuff. You got some really awesome stuff at your table. I helped you bring it in, so make sure you hit up Alex for that this weekend. Does anybody have? Do you have another question or any other questions?
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead. We're going to open it up to everyone else for questions. So if anybody wants to line up over here, we can move to questions afterwards.
All right. Maybe since we're all fans of Transformers, and of course Transformers is built on the toys, you've each had, I think you've either had your designs taken and used for toy designs, or actually got to work on some toy designs. So how do each of you feel when a design you've made gets turned into a toy?
You probably have more experience than anybody.
Well, I'm ecstatic seeing something that I drew in the comic books be turned into a toy. I never thought that I'd see Tarn, but there he is. And then to see somebody take that Tarn figure and do like a third-party blow up of it, so it's like a bigger figure, I'm like, ooh, salivating. I want that one too. And even the one Tarn figure that doesn't transform, it's from like Flame Toys. I have that. It's amazing. And just to see like a character that I spent so long designing and putting on the page, then it's like physically there in front of me. It's quite rewarding. I'm just waiting for them to do more. It would be nice if they gave me a figure, but like I don't expect it. But I'd be like, hey guys, like, can I have one?
That's the bare minimum. I don't know why there isn't, but there should be royalties for you guys getting for your toys.
I know that I see a lot of third-party stuff, and like some people aren't super happy about third-party stuff. I don't really mind it too much because I like seeing characters like all the DJD made. Because who's really going to make a Transformer electric chair? Nobody's going to do that.
Not Hasbro.
Hasbro's not going to do that. So sometimes you need third party to like bring some of these characters to life.
Awesome. Andrew, Livio?
To me, like most of the designs we use, like in Robots in Disguise and stuff, were kind of like influenced by other things, like the video games at the time and stuff. So like a lot of the toys that came out influenced by my designs were more like you could see little touches they had from the comics, like something in the face or certain body parts that I had changed a little bit. That was kind of nice when that stuff would get translated. So I'm trying to think if there's been like I know like there was a Skybite toy that came out that seemed more influenced by the comic than the original cartoon and stuff. So like it's been pretty amazing to go to Target or wherever and see that stuff on the shelves.
You worked on Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, I guess I had more direct stuff I did for Hasbro, but yeah, like that Ultra Magnus is pretty cool to get to work on.
And I would love to see an aileron.
Right? I'm still waiting for that.
You had a third-party one that the Blue Streak or the Prowl, your Prowl design,
okay.
got designed by third party. I don't remember who. I think it was Generation Toy, maybe. I can't remember who did it. But that came out really well.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but
somebody's got to get these guys figures, man.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see this stuff kind of evolve into the toys. From like, I remember being there when like Windblade didn't even exist and seeing the first like character design for her, and now that character's gonna be around forever. You know, so it's been really cool to be part of that, and then see them portrayed amazingly in toys. So yeah, I love it.
Awesome. All right, now we got people waiting, so
Hello.
take some questions.
Were they to come up to you, like, just walk up to you one day or online and just ask, would any of you ever do art for any other big comic companies, DC, Marvel, Image, any of those?
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Leo, what's everyone's favorite character to draw?
It's
From
probably
like anything or just from Transformers?
Is for Transformers specifically.
The easiest.
Huh?
The easiest character to draw is your favorite character to draw.
Who's the easiest?
Well, for me, Bumblebee.
Yeah.
It's like some of the simple lines and everything. It's like it just seems like when I draw him, it's like he flows off the page like kind of quick. Lately, I'm like, why did I design Tarn like this? Because he's got so many tank treads.
That's what I think whenever I draw one of your designs.
Yeah, now it's coming back to bite me in the ass.
I like Optimus because like you can draw him different ways. You can put like little vents in, or just like the square things flat, or you can like if you get bored, you can kind of mix it up a little bit, and it's still Optimus as long as you have the basic shapes and you have the expression and stuff. So I don't know, like he's always kind of fun because you can kind of mess around with it a little bit if you get bored.
Yeah, Optimus is my answer too. Like I think he's probably the only Transformer I haven't gotten tired of over the years. I don't know if it's like the emotional connection I had since I was a kid, but I agree with Andrew. You can change him up here and there and still like Optimus Prime.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Outside of Transformers, Livio does a real badass Darth Vader.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was a really good lead-in for my question, which is, what characters do you feel like you either consistently struggle with or don't enjoy drawing, and why?
Alex's design. Sorry, I keep hitting this. No, is there anyone in particular I don't like? I'm trying to think.
I mean, I can tell you, like, a commission is one thing, but if it's a sequential page of a comic, any character with wings is a pain in the ass because they block the characters around them. So if you're like, if Starscream is talking to like 4 other robots and you're doing different angles, that's really kind of complicated to show who he's talking to. So like that,
And that reminds me too, like Six Shot, he's a pain to draw because he's got these wings that come out here, and it's like, how do you put the arm up?
Ultra Magnus, the giant.
Yeah. So those are some examples.
Yeah.
You? Do you have anybody?
For the longest time, I didn't like drawing Grimlock, but that was from a bad experience with an interaction with somebody made me sour on drawing him. But now I'm more comfortable drawing him now. I don't know, like who did I over design that takes me a long time to draw? Now I'm just like, damn it, I gotta draw them again. Why did I do this?
Getaway comes to mind. Yeah.
Well,
he's a bit challenging.
Anyone that I have to actually look at my own reference for drawing, I'm like, why did I do this? But Getaway I can still do from memory, so.
IDW Unicron.
Oh.
Unicron?
Unicron from IDW, yeah.
That's easy.
Sure it is.
Thank you.
Sure.
It's just a bunch of scribbles. He's got rock on him. It's just a bunch of scribbles.
Character question, nothing to do with drawing, just in Transformers in general, from any series whatsoever, who's your favorite individual character that you just love to see on a page or on the screen or whatnot that like connects with you?
For me, it's probably Thundercracker.
That's tough. I love Galvatron. But I love Galvatron from the '86 movie. Like the Leonard Nimoy voice for Galvatron. Just how kind of ruthless he was. I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to say G1 Soundwave. Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
First of all, it's great to meet you guys. How long does each drawing take, like, in general? Like, to complete?
Like a whole page?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I try to do like myself like a page a day, and but you have to find like a certain balance of like quality versus speed. You know, it's like you have to meet your deadlines, but you want it to look as good as it can. But at some point, you have to learn what shortcuts you can take and stuff. And he doesn't seem like he does that, but I don't know how. But like, I don't know what your speed is. I don't know.
It varies, depends on the day. But I'll usually spend like 8 to 16 hours working on a page.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a page a day is kind of the comic standard to kind of like the comic industry standard to get something done on time. But what I like about comics though is that you can have a really elaborate page that took 20 hours. Then the page after can take 4 or 5 hours, but when it gets printed, it's all the same book. So the final reading experience doesn't look like that page is less effort because you're kind of consuming the whole thing. That's the hope, at least. I mean, that's what we try.
I mean, I've had some pages like double-page spreads that took a whole week to work on. So you know, it depends. It really depends. Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. So like you said earlier, I'm an 80s kid too, and I see you're wearing a Goonies t-shirt. So the Transformers have made a lot of mashups recently with other properties. I'd be curious to know what property would you mash up Transformers with?
I mean, personally, I've always wanted to do like a direct, I mean, it's been done a bunch, but like my own version of a G.I. Joe Transformers, but we kind of did that some with Revolution and stuff in IDW. Trying to think if there's one that, I mean, I actually do have ideas for like a Star Wars crossover, but I think that would be pretty unlikely. But I don't know. You guys?
It's tough because they've done so many good mashups already. I don't know. That's a
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
You're stumping me here.
Yeah. Maybe like Terminator or something? Terminator.
Well, they did
Transformers.
that.
They did that?
You did covers for it.
Yeah, you did.
Oh wait, I did do a cover for it. It was great.
He drew it.
I drew it.
Was it
good?
Was it good?
Oh yeah, like I love drawing that
Who
book.
won?
Who won?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's like Alien versus Predator. We lose.
Yeah, that's true.
Whoever wins, loses.
Yeah.
Hi. So you guys aren't just artists; you're sequential artists. When you were starting out, how did you learn how to tell stories through your art? How was the?
I'm still learning how to do that. I'm just an amateur.
I think we're all learning. Like, I don't know, like watching movies, reading comics, reading books on it. When I was a kid, like I kind of like lived on this book called How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, I think is what it was called. I was really into that book, and that had good tips. And there are good books out there on like storytelling and penciling and how to do comics and stuff too. And just being interested in storytelling in general, I guess, helps, and paying attention to it over the years, seeing what other people do.
Yeah, I don't think you ever stop learning, Like, I think, like, studying movies left and right, and, you're always learning new camera angles and way to tell a story, But I do think, like, comics and movies are closer than people probably think, because it's all visual storytelling,
Well, thank you.
Like, when I was growing up, like, in high school and everything, I know I would look at comic books that I loved, and I'd try and recreate the image. So I would kind of absorb the storytelling of the artist that was doing the page. Like, I take a panel, like say the iconic page of like image of Wolverine jumping towards you by Jim Lee, and I try and redraw that out, but not like tracing it, but like actually trying to redraw it like the way that they would normally draw it. And that led into me trying to do, okay, I've redrawn that now let me try something different. Like, what would the next pose be, but not go from like looking at what Jim Lee had done in the comics there, like coming up with my own thing. And then that led me into looking at storyboarding for video games and movies. And that developed more when I went into college, because they actually had like a storyboarding class and everything. So that helped me figure that out. But as Andrew said, there's the how to draw the Marvel way, but there was always, in the Wizard books, there was always tips and techniques from different artists talking about different methods of storytelling, and I absorbed all that because I was like an avid comic book collector, so I just absorbed everything I could from whatever I was reading, looking at, and just trying to figure out how to do it on my own page. And I'm still learning how to do it. Like, the stuff that I did in More Than Meets the Eye, like, that I know that people love, to me now, I look at it and I'm like, I can do better now. And I'm pretty sure, like, 10 years from now, the stuff that I can do now, I'll be like, I can do better. This is horrible. Like, what is this? So I think that we're always constantly growing and evolving and trying to do better. So it's a process like that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
That made me think of something. Well, you guys had, I'm assuming you all, three of you grew up reading comics. I know, Alex, you just mentioned you did, right? But did you guys grow up inspired by the art in comics? Which artists specifically inspired you? Each of you, go. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll go first. Like, I grew up at the time where like Transformers and Star Wars and G.I. Joe and like Secret Wars was coming out and stuff like that. So you had like Spider-Man appearing in Transformers, and I was getting into all that stuff at the same time. So like Spider-Man, X-Men, Transformers were like my big comics for a long time. So like when Todd McFarlane hit the scene, that kind of blew my mind. But I'd always been into people like, John Byrne, Jim Lee, people who could like render and tell a story and like do it in a way where it was like believably realistic, but also had a bit of a style to it. Those are the ones that kind of appealed to me the most, I guess. Those are the names I'm drawing a blank right now, but those are the names that are coming to mind right now.
Okay.
Probably for me, it would have been like Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, J. Scott Campbell, a bunch of others. Like the artists that left Marvel and formed Image,
okay.
And then the subsequent artists that came on from there. I love the work. I love the trashy comics from the 90s. Like, they're so over the top and out there, and like some of them are horribly drawn, but I love them.
Yeah.
And that just led on to different like manga and everything. Like I love Akira. That's a big influence on me, especially for detail. I love that, and backgrounds.
The world building of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Gundam, stuff like that. And that led on to other artists like Mike Mignola for his use of blacks and everything. And like the new work that Mark Silvestri's doing, and I'm like, I like that. I like all the cross hatching and creating the different forms of gray and value. I'm like, I want to try to implement some of that into my work now, because I want to evolve as an artist, and I don't want to just do the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. So I'm always finding people doing interesting and new techniques, and I'm like, let me try and give that a shot there, because that might be fun to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same exact names as those guys mentioned for me. And then in high school, Alex Ross, I discovered, and that was like the first artist that I really thought, like, maybe I can color my own stuff, you know? Because
Alex Ross is legend.
Amazing, yeah. And then on the Star Wars prequels, Doug Chang, Eric Tiemens, and Ryan Church, there were these, at the time I discovered them, were like the first kind of digital artists, and that had a huge impact too, of like working in like Corel Painter at the time and Photoshop. This was like 2001 and 2. Like that had a huge impact on me too.
Nice.
But, yeah.
And if Mark Silvestri can still change the way he draws and has to improve, right? Then who's to say we all can't still improve, right?
Yeah, he was another name I should have mentioned too.
Yeah. He also drew like 40 some issues of Wolverine in a row, which is pretty wild to think about that run. That's
Andy drew him
monthly, right?
Bi-monthly. 2 books a month.
Jesus. That's.
Let's go back to the questions.
First of all, it's an honor to meet you guys. I've admired all of your work for years.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions actually. First one is, what was the most challenging Transformers project that you found?
For me, Dark Cybertron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just when the 2 books joined together, you had a huge influx of cast members. And this is where I'm like, I'm used to drawing the More Than Meets the Eye guys, but now I have to draw the Robots in Disguise guys. And I'm like, crap, now I need reference for all of this. And there was a double-page spread there, and I'm like, that had everybody joining up from both crews, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a nightmare.
Yeah, there was a double-page spread I had to do where the script literally said there are billions of Amnamites, I think they're called, coming down from the sky. It literally said billions. I'm like, are you guys messing with me, or is this serious? But and then I had to draw his designs too, so that made it challenging. But no, recently I even posted some stuff online. I'm like, how did we do this? Because I was doing like 5 pages a week or something. These huge splash pages where it'd be like 20 characters on the ground, and then like combiners fighting, and then city bots fighting, and then all these people in the sky. It was like, I don't know how we did that.
We were younger.
It is funny that Dark Cybertron is all 3 of our answers. Nothing against whoever wrote that. Who do we blame? But yeah.
I'll blame James Roberts. Because he's not here to defend himself.
And my second question, thank you for that. My second question would be, what's the biggest advice you'd give to someone who wants to draw Transformers?
I would just say, like, anyone who wants to draw, period, same answer. Like, just take it really seriously, make your deadlines, respond to emails. Like drawing is fun. It's supposed to be fun. But if you're doing it for professionally, then you have to treat it like a real job, You can't just leave people hanging if they need something done by a certain date,
But, like, for Transformers specifically, it really helps to know how to break them down into basic shapes to start with, like a block or a circle or a cube, to understand what's underneath it, and then you kind of get those forms started, and then you start building in the details over it. I think is a good step for Transformers. I mean, for anything, but Transformers especially, understanding like the basic geometry underneath it.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being here.
Hi there. When starting off drawing, what advice would you have for someone who's just starting out and wanting to just do it as a hobby, maybe?
Well, what would you like? Like, what do you want to try and accomplish, right?
Okay.
Like, what's your goal? Like just drawing Transformers or drawing anything?
Just Transformers,
Just
anything.
Transformers? Okay. Draw every day. And don't get discouraged if it doesn't come out perfectly, if you don't draw something perfect the first time, because you're not going to. And we're all like that. We don't draw a perfect image right off the bat. It's a progression. Like, it might look perfect, but that's because we've had years and years and years of experience, and sometimes it just becomes muscle memory. So it's like, how do you draw Optimus Prime so quickly? I'm like, I've drawn him like 10,000 times. So like, I know this character inside and out. But there will be days when I'm like, I have an off drawing day, and I'm like, that looks really wonky. That does not look right. You hold it up to look like the reflection on the other side, and I'm like, no, yeah, it's off, so I gotta like redo it. But don't get discouraged by that, because it's all a learning process. And I guess the next thing is like, don't be afraid to draw things that are complicated. Like, don't let that discourage you either, right? Because you're always going to get frustrated with something. When that happens, just take a break, walk away for a moment, come back to it with a fresh set of eyes, and then try it again. Like, don't get discouraged if something is taking a long time and difficult, because that happens, right? And it all happens with Transformers, because they're complicated beings to create.
And like, just observe too. Like, I know, like, especially since I draw Transformers, whenever I'm out like on a city street or something, or out and about, I'm always like observing different cars and buses, and how the shapes work and how things go together, and where panels could break up, and if you wanted to think about how it could transform. And I'm always like observing that stuff and looking at that stuff, just to understanding how the world works in that way, at least on that level.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I would say, like, study the real world, because that'll help you with like fictional stuff, So even like cloth or whatever, that'll help you draw like Batman's cape or something if you study something that's real. Like when I was younger, I was like, well, I just want to draw Transformers. I don't want to look at anything that's real. But that stuff will make you a better artist, to kind of really study the real world and how light and shadow works. So.
Alrighty. Absolutely love the art on the Unicron book, is all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. I did some of that, I guess. Yeah.
So, what single issue would you like to be best known for 50, 100 years from now?
If we'd be so lucky.
Like single issue, or can it be like a mini series?
Single issue.
A2 panel number 2.
I did the series called Autocracy, which I really liked, and there's an issue where Soundwave is basically trying to escape Autobot-controlled territory, and they're all after him, and that was probably my favorite one I worked on.
All right, ROM versus Transformers issue 1.
All right.
I think it would be Robots in Disguise 1, because that was like the first time, like, for both John and I, we got our chance to like dig in and like do what we would do with Transformers, and actually do like an ongoing book, and put a lot of love into that. And I look back at it, and a lot of stuff I look back at, I'm like, wow, I don't want to look at that. I can do so much better now, like he was saying. But that one I still feel pretty happy with.
Thank you very much for your answers.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Howdy.
Hi.
I had a question. What music, if any, do y'all listen to when you draw?
I listen to a bunch of stuff, like from all the different genres. If I'm drawing something that is more aggressive looking, I'll listen to heavy metal or industrial music, because it just puts me in that mood. So different emotion comes out when I'm like drawing it. But I listen to anything. It's too hard to choose, because there's so many songs I like. Like, I can go from like 9 Inch Nails all the way over to like Katy Perry and Britney Spears for some reason, and then back to like Metallica and like AC/DC. So I just hit random on the YouTube, and I'm like, just go, whatever.
Yeah, I'm a big music fan, but for some reason when I draw, I don't listen to music that much. I'm more likely to listen to like podcasts or follow my YouTube algorithms, or stream a show or something that like, I don't know why that is, but like I tend to like more to listen to people talking. Maybe because like it's kind of an isolating thing to sit there and drawing, and you kind of feel like you're not alone. Like if there's conversations or something you can listen to and feel like you're part of. I don't know what it is about
You
that.
just don't want anybody coming in and catching you dancing while you're drawing.
That's happened, yeah.
Yeah, I like.
It's happened.
We do,
It's
yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I listen to podcasts too. I like electronica. I like Crystal Method and stuff. And there's like that YouTube channel, like Lo-Fi Girl or whatever, the girl with the cat. I listen to that all the time. So, yeah.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, it's too tall. Hi, it's an honor to meet you. My question is, where do you spark inspiration for the cover pages that you create?
For the cover specifically.
Yes.
For me, like I've looked a lot at what covers have worked for me, like what I've seen that like I thought, wow, that's a good cover, and thought about why, and that's for me some of my more successful covers. That's what I've thought about and looked at.
I don't know. For me, I just think about what would catch my attention on the shelf if I was looking for something personally to buy. So I'm like, okay, I'll draw that, and then be like, and try and make it look cool and don't mess it up.
Yeah, I think just what looks cool, you know, and I think at our point too, we probably each draw an Optimus Prime on a cover like 50 times. So it's like at some point you're like, well, what do we do that's different than what we did before, you know, and like hopefully interesting. So
I'm trying to think of any interesting like stories or anything, but yeah, it's that kind of stuff.
I was gonna say like nobody's drawn his butt yet.
It's true.
It's not.
Don
like
cover. There's that one
Don
cover.
did, and I was like, damn it, he beat me to it already.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we're getting down to the end here, so I think we're going to... Oh, one more question?
One more fun one. Okay, if there's one paper and you guys all have to draw on the same paper, how are you going to do it? If you guys all draw on the same paper.
We've done that actually. Do you know what jam pieces are? Like when people get a commission where they'll come around to different artists and have this person draw this character, this person draw that
pretty
character.
much.
I did one recently where both of these guys had drawn on the same paper, and that was fun. But how would you do it? Like, I guess somebody has to lay it out to begin with, right? I mean,
Yeah,
someone
pretty
has to
much.
decide where everything's going to go.
Yeah, and also the background too, pretty much at the same time.
Yeah. It would have to be like pencil first, then we would ink it later once we figured out where everyone's gonna work.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we've never done that like for a comic or anything, have we? Like
I don't think so.
On the same page, I don't think.
Yeah, we should do that.
Daryl, you got that commissioned at TFcon LA.
I did. Out of these three, Alex was the only one there, so but he's on there. Yeah.
Just real quick for an artist, what color is Rumble?
Wow, what a controversial.
Whatever color you want him to be.
Yes. We're very zen. We're very
blue.
Definitive answer from Livio.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.